So today we're talking about ethical marketing and ways that you can actually do this. I think it's very important. So when I did my email this weekend, yes, I'm doing this so suddenly. Um, I did 10 ways to keep your social media marketing ethical, especially as we approach Black Friday, the holidays, all the good stuff. Like, it's going to get very salesy very fast if it hasn't already. So, I wanted to make sure that I was giving you ways that just made it so easy for you to really start implementing strategies that make sense, but also make you feel comfortable and like you're able to do this without feeling like sleazy and icky and gross. So, or uncomfy, as I like to say. So, the first one that I want to talk about, because I am also reading it over here, is you really need to understand. Well, first, actually, you probably should understand what social media marketing is. So, if you do not know, it's a form of marketing, a form of like promoting your product or service to basically sell most of the time. Um, Sometimes it's like opting in or anything like that, but you're using a phone, a desktop computer, a laptop, pretty much anything digital to do this. So on social media, it's just using things like Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, Twitter. There's so many apps out there now. Am I forgetting one? I feel like I'm forgetting one pretty big one. Facebook. Did I mention that? So that's what social media marketing is. That's just a really, really general summary, and I probably said it kind of backwards and flip flop, but I'll make sure that it's on the screen. So I did 10 ways to keep your social media marketing ethical and easy. And honestly, I feel like there's really I'm trying to like limit how many I really could sum it up to like maybe three. Three is a very like magic number for me, so I think I'm gonna sum it up in three. So the biggest one the biggest one is if it feels gross, you probably shouldn't do it. And I actually got that from Allie Mason. Check her out. Um, she is who's been teaching me about ethical marketing, and it's because I'm following her. It's legitimately not something that I've opted into from her. It's just I've opted into her digital space, where she has like she's certain set boundaries and she shares certain things, and she's really taught me to pay attention to ethical marketing and made it make sense as to why I feel gross about certain messaging and certain things that are said, especially as an introvert, especially as a high level empath. So I really appreciate what she's doing. Please follow her, follow along, get ready to learn a lot and be very involved. So it's just if it feels gross, you probably shouldn't do it. Like if you really feel it. And there's a difference in feeling like uncomfy because it feels disgusting and it feels like you're like taking advantage of somebody's emotions, some taking just advantage of people's good hearts, like you're lying about things, anything like that. Just be like, no, that's not for me then. I'm not if I'm gonna do this ethically, I'm not gonna do that. I will say to not only the second one would be to protect people's privacy, safety, and honestly, I would say differences. I know that probably sounds weird, but if you know your avatar, think about the fact that even if that person is like your avatar, you're not considering like how do they learn? How do they have to deal with any type of disability? Because we outright don't think about those things, right? And the reason I say this is you really want to try, and this could be like a little sub step, to be as accessible as possible. Things like using a lot of emojis aren't really as accessible as we think. The fact of like writing really long captions or really long blog posts or really long emails, that's not beneficial for everybody. Some people need things like video, need things like podcasts to hear it because it could be like something with their eyes. It could be like, you know, it's just harder for them to read. And like, if you want to be as inclusive as possible, you consider these things and you go, okay, how can I adapt what I'm doing to make my content more accessible? And I'm not going to say you're going to be perfect. Do not put pressure on yourself to be absolutely perfect. But I am saying be conscious of it. Do your very best. And like, if somebody says something like, this is not working for me, this is not acceptable, I really want to learn from you, but like, is there like this option? Like I've had people, and I give this story all the time. We had somebody emailed Dream on Youth, my organization it's a mental health hub for college students, saying like, I really love what you're doing and I love that you have blog posts, but it's really hard for me to read these long informative blog posts. Like, I'm sure they're really good. Is there a possibility to get them like get audio for them? And so it actually gave us an idea for a podcast. Be open to things like that, where we go back and we review what we talked about in the blog post and we expand on it. So I really appreciate that. I like listen to your audience when they talk about, and I'm talking about it from like an accessibility standpoint, but as far as their privacy, like just because somebody messages you in the DMs does not mean you have the right to outright share it. At the end of the day, you don't know why that person's on social media. If their account might be private, they might be like under some kind of protection from somebody else and they don't want that person to find them, and you have more public space and a bigger platform and maybe that person would find them through that. Like, these are things that we don't consider because like we're just living our lives, but it's something that we probably should consider their safety. Like, don't just post anything without a trigger warning if you can help it. Like, if you know that you were talking about things like, and this is a trigger warning for anybody that deals with this, so trigger warning right now, like if you at any point in this video feel uncomfortable, feel unsafe, or anything like that, like feel free to click off of it and remove yourself. I will try to tell you what time you can come back and like learn the rest about how to make your marketing like ethical and easy, so that you do not have to stress yourself out with trying to figure that out. But like if it mentions rape, if it mentions, you know, sexual assault of any kind, if it mentions you know, unaliving, there's just so much. Try to put a trigger warning where that content is written or it's an audio thing or you're just posting on your stories. A lot of times, like when I was doing like talking about the Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie, I talked about the fact that like I love this movie. I love the themes. I love the lore. I love so much of it. The costuming is immaculate. Like the storyline, I absolutely love. The fact that like they did something different with the lore, according to my boyfriend, than what they do in the comics. I was like, all of this is so beautiful. However, I said, I put a trigger warning, and I didn't put TW on it like we usually do, or T/W or trigger warning. I said, if you are dealing with them, and I just put it in a different color block on text. I said, if you are dealing with any kind of emotions like grief, whether that be the loss of safety, whether that be the loss of comfort, whether it be the loss of somebody, be gentle with yourself. I said, this is this is a movie that faces a lot of grief within the movie, and shows different ways that different people deal with it, and like just their like vengeance arcs and all this stuff. Be very conscious of that. Putting trigger warnings it's a way for you to help protect the safety of others. If you want your audience to like care about what you do and who you are, then you need to do the same. Does that make sense? So I do always tell people, like, if you can, like, if somebody leaves you like a really nice comment, I love what Alex Beadon does, and she actually like will cover people's faces if they like message her, because it's about business stuff. She'll cover people's faces and be like in the DMs, and she'll like cover people's faces. If like that still feels icky to you for whatever reason, you can always ask the person, hey, do you mind if I share this? If anything, like you can do a thing where you talk about like, I got asked this, and not say the person's name, not say like who said it, but be like, I got asked this recently in my DMs, and like expand on what it was, just to protect people's privacy. Don't use names, don't use anything like that unless you've run that past them and asked them outright, like, hey, are you comfortable with me using your name and like talking about this? Because at the end of the day, they're still people, and like you don't have the right to just share what you want to share because like it got to you. Like, be conscious of that. And the last one, I'm trying to think of which one I want to do as the last one, because there's 10 of them on here. And if you're a part of the TBL community, then you know that like if you're part of that community on our Slack channel, like you know that I will put like all the emails I did, and so you can go back and read this if you missed it in your inbox, or your inbox looks crazy like mine right now. So the last one, to make your marketing, your social media marketing, just as really as easy and ethical as possible, to show up as you are. If you don't wear like makeup all the time, like this is how I am most days, like a little glow from the skincare routine, like the fro is kind of zhuzhed out. Sometimes it's shorter than this because I didn't wash it, or it's not, I didn't put water on it that day to moisturize it because I'm still working on my natural hair care. But like I show up in like my comfy clothes, and I don't always get dressed up because I don't always get dressed up for a work call. So why would I do that now on social media when like most of the time I'm just chilling and I'm in comfy clothes? And I usually have my glasses on. I don't have them right now, but I should go probably put them on because blue light glasses are important, and my eyeballs are gonna be mad at me later. But and be transparent about who you are. I'm not saying to give everybody the tea on every little thing that's going wrong, and like every little problem you have and all that stuff. That's not what I'm saying. So I'm saying like don't just accept opportunities and do them. Like if you have a paid opportunity, if you have a partnership, say that. Now, if for whatever reason it's in your contract that you cannot say that, then like of course. But like be open about stuff like that. I've worked with brands in the past, and I'm always upfront about like if I like am doing this because somebody asked me to versus like I'm doing this as a way to like be like I really love your products and your stuff. Like one of the things I do is gifting for businesses, and I gift photos for women-owned businesses because I go to Girl Tribe pop up every year, and one of the things I love doing is being a consumer, talking about the product, asking them about them, because I don't tell most people that I'm a brand and marketing strategist. And you're like, that's not being very transparent, but like I'm not at the show as a brand and marketing strategist. I'm there because I love shopping and I want new stuff. And if I like happen to have my camera or like stuff like that, I will outright tell them, and I'll ask like, can I take photos or stuff like that. But like building my portfolio, I go back and I set everything up here, and I do that, and a lot of times I just gift the photos and like use it for your marketing assets, use it for whatever you want to use it for. That's completely fine. I said I'm doing this to build my portfolio as much as I'm just doing this because I love your products and I think they look pretty like this. So here you go. That's nothing. They didn't outright ask me. I'm like building my portfolio and getting prepared for my offer when I launch it to have a branding photography like subscription. So I'm like genuinely gifting. I tell people like I'm gifting these. Nobody is asking me to do this. This is something that I am doing. I'm not like oh look at all the clients that I have, and it's like this full list of all the products that I bought. That doesn't make any sense. That's so. Why would you not want to tell people that like from the goodness of your heart? You're like, yes, I want to build my portfolio, but I also know that like when you're first getting started up as a small business, that like having like paying for a photographer is not always in budget. I was like getting them styled in a way that's unique to you and doesn't look cookie cutter is not always possible, even if it is in budget. And so being able to do this, knowing who I am as a photographer and knowing who a lot of these people are and their brands, even if I just met them, just like being able to do research, looking at some of their content and being like, okay, what if I style it this way? And like marrying who I am as a photographer with that and like seeing what comes of it and letting my like creativity flag fly, like I love that. And like why would I not want to share my heart with people? Why would I not want them to know that I am a gracious business owner and that one of the things I absolutely love is volunteering my time to build bridges for people, maybe to their next sale, maybe to like their healing journey, maybe to being confident in prioritizing themselves, maybe to like launching their like so many bridges can be built when I'm just who I am. Why would I not want you to know that? So that's really like the biggest one. Now I can go over like some bonus ones. It's just you know just like a school paper. Cite your resources. Now that's not me, because if I'm going to tell you to cite your resources, I'm going to cite mine. That would be for a tip from Outsmarts. I'll put the link down below. And honestly, like it's like a school paper. Like just cite your resources. Like I'll mention who gave me the opportunity, who inspired it, where you can read more about it, because it's not hurting you. There's room for all of us to eat. There's room for all of us to win. I don't understand this like obsession with like being like excluding people in the sense of like being like, well, I said it this way, so I don't have to tell anybody like where I got it from. And it's like, why would you not want people to know that you're willing to learn and willing to study and like will give credit to the people that your ideas like gave you the idea? Like people can look at that meme, like make it make sense. So cite your resources. That's why I mentioned Allie Mason. That's why I mentioned Outsmart. There is the where I got the like the social media marketing definition, like which is actually a form of digital marketing that leverages the power of popular social media networks to achieve your marketing and branding goals. That is actually from Wordstream. I did not say that, but I used it in my email and I gave credit to Wordstream because I was like, like, I didn't say that. Don't use me. And, the other reason I wanted to talk about like this whole idea of like cite your resources and do that, because social media is a two-sided coin. Social media is, I can connect with all these people. I can make sales all over the world. I can be a global brand. I can, help strangers. I can grow my business digitally without having to have a brick and mortar space. Like, there's all of these beautiful things that you can do with social media. And then there's the flip side of it where it's like, there's a heightened need to mask who we are and hide ourselves because of the highlight reel. And there's like privacy issues and safety issues. Like, not everybody is for you on this app, and you really won't know until you start talking to people. It's putting our privacy in jeopardy time and time and again. Even famous celebs are having their privacy jeopardized because somebody got mad at something they did or said, and now like it's a whole issue. And it's like, why is that a thing? And it's created this idea of like mass groupthink in a lot of communities where people are not thinking individually and they're not thinking creatively. And so like everybody is on the same wavelength. Nobody does the research to like back up the facts. And I'm generalizing here. This is not like everybody does the same thing. This is a very like, this is the other side of the coin. This is the ugly side of things. And we're fed information like at such an alarming rate that a lot of times we need to be better about setting digital boundaries and setting aside time to set those digital boundaries in our own spaces, but also set boundaries within our business about like how we will do marketing, if we will do it ethically, because I can't force you to do it ethically. This video is really like telling you how you can do it and some of the easiest ways to do it, but I can't at the end of the day say like, you must do it ethically, blah blah blah, and you're gonna do it. Like, you're a human being. And I know I said I was gonna give you 3, and then I gave you a bonus one, so I gave you 4. And I feel like 5 is the magic number. Is 5 the magic number today? This is something that I always do. So a lot of people will like promise you this, and they'll promise you all these things, and then like you don't get it, or it's like the delivery is underwhelming because they don't actually give you everything. My favorite, and this is my lifelong like my career goal, like all of the stuff, is I always am somebody who's like go above and beyond. That is my mindset when it comes to work. That's my mindset when it comes to a lot of things. That's why you're getting a 20-minute video, and I'm not just giving you 3 things, I'm giving you 5. If you want all 10, you're gonna have to join my community and find out, because when I say I've been sending emails, there's a lot. I have some from Q3, and I have some when we talked about branding, and now we're going into marketing, and you not gonna miss another second of this, because I'm not deleting these messages. Like, you can go back and look at them. Yes, like that. That's how our community is. And we are a tight-knit community, and you can ask questions, and it's just a good time. I'm just saying. But this idea is that I want to go above and beyond, but I also want to under-promise and over-deliver. So like, this channel was originally supposed to be branding and marketing and operations, and that was it, right? Like, that's what the lowdown is. And then I got the idea on my Instagram stories, and I was like, I am a former mindset coach. I cannot talk about branding, talk about marketing, and talk about operations, and talk about how to optimize them. And I obviously need to eat. If you can hear my stomach, I'm so sorry. Without talking about mindset, because a big part of business, a big part of like what is stopping you from your next step, from your next level, from being all the way up here that you can't even see it, is mindset. And I'm like, oh, I could do so many mindset videos. I got ideas right now. Like, let's do this. So it's this idea that like, if I under promise and over deliver, people are going to talk about the quality of my work, the quality of who I am every time, because also I'm not overextending myself. I can choose to not over deliver. I can choose to just meet those promises and move on. But if I choose to under promise, like just give them like the very basics of this, because I know like everything else will be overwhelming, but give bonuses in the form of like, mindset. Like, so if you're on this and you're on my Instagram stories, you know that mindset videos come, and they're going to come every Wednesday. Like, I'm gonna do my best to have it every Wednesday. I'm still human. I'm still an introvert. Bear with me, but that's the goal. But yeah, it's this idea that like I can expand on that. If I promise X, Y, and Z, I can give them all the other letters of the alphabet if I so choose. On top of that, if I so choose, without telling them, because then there's a whole other level to what they do. So like people know in my community, like if you're in my community, you know that on top of you getting access to all these emails, like still having, on top of the fact that you can ask me questions directly, that we can socialize in a space that is not Facebook, um, that we also have this opportunity for our Q&A calls that are monthly, like, because like that's not, I didn't promise that. That was something that like I tell you, like you join and that you get access to the previous emails and that like it's the way for you to ask questions. But one of the things I don't put in any of my marketing is the fact that we have monthly Q&A calls and that like that's a goal, is to have monthly Q&A, and that I'm going to ask this week, what do you, by the time you see this video, like, oh, I already asked it, but like, when do you want to do this, our first monthly Q&A call, so that we can get you ready before the new year? What questions do you have? What can I answer and spell out for you and all that stuff? And like, the good thing is that they have access to my emails. They can go back and ask me questions about said email and ask me to expand on it. And I can either make a video or an audio message, or I can like type it all out and we can have a conversation there. But again, it was the fact that I promised, like, you'll get the lowdown on, it originally was just branding, but like branding, marketing, and operations, because this is the biz lowdown. And now, because it's the biz lowdown instead of the branding lowdown, I can even take that further if I want to. Because now I'm not only doing mindset for all of you on YouTube, but I can take that further, and there are so many other aspects of business that I haven't touched on yet, that if I decided to do a video on it, if I decided to add that to like my community, it would still be in the realm of what I do, because of like, this is the business, this is the overwhelming theme here. But like I'm already meeting the promises that were promised when they signed up, and now I'm just adding to it because I can, because I want to over deliver, because I want to improve the quality of their experience. That's all you're doing when you under promise and over deliver. It's just that you're meeting the promises that you already set out, and you're just adding and elevating the quality of what you're delivering on. And that to me is more ethical than you making a ton of promises and then all of a sudden it's like, well, that's not happening. Well, and like circumstances happen, and so be as transparent as possible. Like I said, show up as who you are, and like if you've got to be transparent, and there's certain things you can't say, but certain things you can, like be as transparent as possible about it. But still, like meet those promises. If you promise like weekly this, weekly that, weekly this, weekly that, and like it has to change, explain that. That's just it, you know? So yeah, this is a long video, so like things like this where I'm going over 3 ways, 5 ways, going over extensive like ways to do this, I'm always going to give you more. Like, yes, I could just tell you the boom, boom, boom and just be done with it. But like short form video content, I can still do that. So you'll probably see the short form first and then see this long, expensive video after I've edited it, and it'll be up. It's Monday, so I'm trying to get it up today. If it's up on Tuesday, don't fight me. Y'all love me, right? I will talk to all of you later. If you have any questions, of course, drop them down below. If you have comments, if you want to join the group, the link is also down below. Because whoever takes the time to read this long, very long description, because I'm long-winded, you deserve it.